Hello, welcome to this session, online training session presented by PROTRADE United. It's great to have you on the call today, and we're going to explore a relatively, well, not new topic, but something that we haven't really delivered on previously, and looking at some steps, 7 specific steps that will enable you to effectively run your trade business from anywhere at any time. So I gather the people who are registered for this, which was quite a significant number, are interested in looking at a way to make that possible for them. So we've got a jam-packed session, content rich, lots to work through. So if this is your first time on a session with us, welcome, great to have you on board. If you are a regular attendee on our sessions, great to have you back. And I trust you are continuing to want to just take those 1 or 2 percenters and add them to your business toolkit each and every day. So my name is John Mailer. I'm the CEO and founder of PROTRADE United. And it's great to have you on the session. I'm going to explain just a little bit about what we're going to run through tonight, and then how you can get the most benefit from it as well. So, as I said, my name's John. Just chill, relax. I'm going to do most of the work. I'd love some input from you at some stage, particularly around what value you're getting and how you'd like to utilize the information we're going to chat about today. Take a truckload of notes if you like. And my goal is to challenge the way you currently are operating your business, not necessarily to tell you all the things that you are doing really well, but where can you take the next step and what is the next best step for you as well. I'm going to give you an opportunity to participate in a second. I'll show you how to do that. And just to let you know, if you think you get some value from tonight, you'd like to re-listen to it and maybe share it with some team players or business partners, you're going to get a recording as well, which is pretty cool. So how we can connect and collaborate. On your right-hand side, what will usually happen is a little control panel will pop up. And what I'd love to do is hear from you, just to ensure that if you can hear me, you can see the screen clearly, just say hi, click the hand button. If you'd like to explore a little bit further, if you could type into the little chat box there, and what business type that you have in the trading construction space and where are you located around Australia or New Zealand. I'd love to check in and hear from who we're chatting to, where we're taking people from. That would be terrific. So let's just have a look at who we've got. I see that Majika's said hello there. We've got Carlisle is saying hello as well. Great. Adam is here with us as well from Melbourne. Beautiful. Good to have you, Adam. We've got Wayne from far north Queensland. Sam is joining us from the sunny coast, which ain't so sunny at the moment because that's where I am. I'm on the Sunshine Coast. We've had a good dose of rain, which is well needed as well. G'day, Kevin. Kevin's dropped in from Sydney as well. So please, as I continue to chat through tonight, please type into the box. And also as we go through tonight, this is a little test. You got any queries, any questions that you'd love to get some support on? Particularly it's pretty, general, then I can support you around everything. If it's a bit more specific, I'd love to see what we can do to bring on board some more specific answers for you. G'day, Rowan, how's it going? Akram, g'day, Douglas. Hey, James. G'day, Kate, Kelly. Michelle. G'day, Peter. G'day, Shane. Hey, Stephen. Hey, great to have you all coming on board. So thank you for that. Let's get into the session tonight. And Majika's got, he's an electrical contractor from Mackay, again, in far north Queensland. So given what we're here to talk about tonight, a bit about PROTRADE United for those of you who haven't had a session with us before. Our goal here is essentially to support you as a business owner in the trading construction space, regardless of where you're at in Australia and New Zealand, to help you grow, not just your business, because not everybody wants to grow, but grow yourself personally, because our business tends to be a reflection of us and individually. And if your business is a reflection of you, then if you'd like to shift and change that, or then something needs to shift and change with you personally as well. So whether you want to stabilize and streamline your income, your profit, and your cash, maybe grow the number of projects you've done, maybe the vans or teams you've got, or maybe step out or step off the tools, then we can support you in any or all of that as well. Some of the good-looking clients that we work with around the country, from builders to plumbers to painters to plasterers to electricians to security to mechanics, landscape gardening, air conditioning, refrigeration, commercial, residential, industrial, we work with everyone in that space. This session, a little different, as I said, is designed to help you think differently about what's possible in your business. Not necessarily where you're at, but coming from a place of what's possible. What are the mistakes that keep business owners trapped in their business? What's the game plan that you'd like to create if you did want to work remotely and consistently build a profitable business regardless of your location, and create a plan that will give you a result in 3 to 6 months' time? So, impact driven. And really where I'm coming from with this conversation today is creating a business where you can operate anytime from anywhere. And ProTrade United has a step-by-step guide that we work with clients on to help them progress. And we call it the ProTrade United Business Mountain. And what that does is logically takes people on a journey of the adventure of business. And we have a level on that mountain called space, which is a level where you have the space and you have the time and you have the freedom, for want of a better word. The flexibility is probably better suited to being able to have a business that you can connect with anywhere at any time. And so, if that is something that you'd love to create in your business, then this is a session for you. And what we'd love to do, if we did work with you personally, is take you on that journey, working you through the red level to orange to yellow, right through to blue. And for some of our clients who get to the stage where they are now at blue level, where they are passing on their success to others in a number of different ways. So let's just do a quick check-in with you. Love to hear from you right now. What is your biggest challenge in business? I was doing a session with some business owners in New Zealand earlier today, and the things that did come up for them were finding quality tradespeople, which is there's a skill shortage everywhere at the moment. That could be one of yours. Others is finding that balance between working on the tools and working in the business. Others were, getting paid. At the moment, doesn't seem to be a shortage of work, but there can be a delay in getting paid as well. So what I'd love you to do is, into that little chat box that came up before, hey, just type in, and it's totally anonymous. I won't sort of announce necessarily who you are and where you're from and what's going on with you in your business right now, but love to sort of hear from you and make this a two-way conversation. So right now, what's one of the biggest challenges that you're facing in your business right now? If you could just type into the chat box, that'd be great. That'll keep your fingers moving. Let me know that you can hear and connect with me quite okay. So, hey, listen, we sounded like a bit of a ditto there. So we've got finding skilled labour has come up, and definitely it's an interesting scenario at the moment, having a chat to one of our clients who's in central New South Wales at the moment, and what he's experiencing and aiming to bring on board. Work-life balance and scheduling, thank you very much for that as well. Wage pressure against good trade skills, yeah, definitely at the moment what we're experiencing is that there is an increase in wages, and I don't think they'll go backwards from here. It's interesting that, obviously with rising prices all around the place, from materials to property to housing, right through to now salaries, that's going to continue to grow and escalate as well. Other trades, working with other trades on site is another challenge that's come up. Getting paid on time is another one that's just come up here as well. Getting paid, promoting and advertising in the right place. So these are what I'm hearing, and I love the engagement that I'm here and receiving. And please keep communicating with me, is that we're all related in some way, shape, or form. I get that. Regardless of what industry you're in, a lot of the commonalities. And so the relatability that we have as a group is super, super important. And that's one of the reasons why ProTrade United exists, is to build that community of support with other people who are in the same gig. We're finding at the moment that business owners are choosing, and really it is a choose. You get to create a business that is by design, where you take control, you take ownership, you really, say, this is how I want my business to operate. This is where I'd like to go. This is the direction I want to head, and I'm going to be the one in charge. And there's also businesses at the moment that are operating by default. They're the reactive ones. Some people have a lot of work in their calendar right now by default, not by them consciously going out and creating it. It's sometimes they're the final choice that people have at the moment, because there is such a demand. That the supply demand is really seeing at the moment that most trading construction business owners have got plenty of workload, because there's a high demand and not a large amount of supply. But again, I want you to think about all the time, you get to choose a business that you want, either by default or by design. What do you want to make that be? And tonight, I guess you're on this session because you want to continue to build a business that you're in control of, and you're designing it every step of the way. We are in unprecedented times. There's no doubt about it. The conversations we're having today are completely different to the conversations we were having probably 3 months ago. There's a lot of polarizing, conversations going on out there. And, again, with a client I was talking to this afternoon, who would have thought that the conversations we're having now are really about managing expectations around, working with your suppliers, with your customers, with your team. The challenges that we're facing today in business are things that we've never experienced before in the past. And how are you adapting? How are you changing? How are you evolving? We are seeing some businesses that are having to close the doors, go out of business, extinct. That's not you, I trust. But one of the things we want to understand is that we get to choose moving forward how we want our businesses to look. Now, what I'm going to talk about today, and I'm just coming back here a bit, because when we're going to talk about how to create a business that you can basically run anywhere, from anywhere at any time, there's some obvious benefits. Yeah, the benefits that I'm going to say is we have the ability to grow and scale and build a business, because the benefits from that is, if you've got a business that you can operate from anywhere at any time, it gives you flow-on effects, flow-on benefits. The ability to have flexibility in how you use your time and your energy. You've got a business that's worth more. Seriously, it's worth so much more if it's not reliant on you being there each and every day. You can have the ability to scale your income and profits, and you have an element of control, not micromanagement control, but you feel like your business is in control. Now, I'm going to launch a little poll here, because I'd love to get some insights of who we've got on the on the session. Now, the question I have for you is, where would you love to run your business from? If you had the choice to run your business, where would you love to run it from? So as you can see on the screen right now, you've got some options. I'd love to run it from home if you've got a family. What would you love to run it from? Maybe from the beach or the bush. The truck or the van, a mobile little office, a little quirky one there, maybe the pub on a Friday afternoon, or maybe all of the above. What come up for you? Where would you love to run your business from? If you could create one that could be run anywhere at any time. Now, these are totally anonymous, so you won't see who's said what, but I'll share it with everybody in a tick, just to give a few of you a bit more time to just put your response in. What's your first instinct there? Home, beach or the bush, the truck or the van, the pub, or all of the above? All right, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So I'll get to share the results. So here's what's come up right now. All right, 0 said the pub. Wow, how about that? We've got possibly some sensible business owners here. 20% said home, 13% said the beach or the bush, 13% said the truck and the van, and some of you said all of the above. So maybe that did include the pub as well. So isn't that interesting? Just great to sort of get some insights about who we've got on the session right now. So let me just stop that And we'll come back to make sure we got the right screen there. So thanks for participating on that. Some key mistakes that are made when setting up a business that may want to be able to work remotely is you've got to be able to get access to lots of things, particularly financial information. And a lot of people jump the steps. They jump too soon to what I call that green level on the mountain when they don't have awareness around what's happening financially. Their inability to create quality work. And I've got create there in commas because create is what you cause. Yep, it's not what comes to you necessarily by default. You know, you're the last on the list. You get to create. Now, you might be full at the moment, but what happens if there's a gap? Can you automatically turn on the tap and create the work that works for you? You've got a business model that doesn't support what you're doing. You may be trying to do be all things to everyone, which means you become nothing to no one. And that's one of the things that we work with our clients on, is how to create the right model for you. Poor profitability, okay, lack of processes in the business, and poor team development. And I'm going to just probably put here also that there's no process or plan in place to gradually move your business to that point where you can, you know, operate remotely. You have more of a micromanaging versus creating a structure, and you abdicate versus delegate. You know, what happens is you let go. And so the question I have for you is, what is your current approach? Are you the type of person that tends to want to be over everything all the time? And we could label that as a control freak. Yeah, it's just, and that's a real fear-driven approach, that if I don't, you know, aren't over everything, the business is going to fall apart. Or you're the type of person who likes to just, you know, well, throw them in the deep end, see if they sink or swing. That's the way I was brought up. That's the way I got treated. I survived. I'm all right. A little bit scarred, but, you know, I'm here today. Now, neither of those is right or wrong. But wouldn't it be great to have one sort of medium that, you know, gives you a structure of not control from a micromanagement, but you feel like the business is under control? And that's what we want to work through in this session as well. Now, the biggest barrier that I do want to share with you, the biggest barrier, now I'm going to call it a glass cage. Some people call it a glass ceiling. But the glass cage is essentially what holds you back from growing and developing and progressing your business. This is often invisible. This is something that we see all the time at PROTRADE United. And we all have beliefs, we all have values, we all have a way that we see the world. Yet, are you totally aware of what's getting in the way of you progressing in your business? So the number one thing that you have to accept and want to change as you grow and progress through the business mountain to that space level, which is operating your business remotely, anywhere, at any time, is, are you prepared to change the way that you think, that you feel, and you act? Because let's say that there's a lot of things going on externally now in our businesses, in the world, that we have no control over. But if you continually focus on the things that you don't have control over versus the things that you can control and influence, you will stay stuck. Are you prepared to say, you know, change the way you view the value that you bring to your business? I was chatting to a business owner today, and I'll come back to this glass barrier, who has been doing all things in his business. He's out on the tools, he's managing the production, he's doing the scheduling, he's doing the quoting, he's winning the work, trying to take care of a bit of an admin, until he lets go of some of those roles that he's playing in the business. He will never progress to a business that he can operate anywhere from any time. So understand that the biggest barrier is you. And if you're up for changing you, then I know your business will change. We are living through an amazing time at the moment. The beautiful thing about being able to access your business remotely is you can get information. If you've got a reasonable internet connection, you can get information at the click of your fingers. And therefore, if you say, well, I can't get access to this, or I don't have the information, then ignorance is what shows up. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And the key word there is choice. You're choosing not to know. Do you want to know? Or do you not want to know? That's your choice. So as we progress through today, I want you to adapt the ideas change, modify them to your industry, whether you're residential, commercial, industrial, whether you're service and maintenance based, project based, you adapt it to work with you as well. So for what purpose? Here's the question I have for you. For what purpose do you want to create a business that you can run remotely? It's always good to begin with the end in mind, because this is a bit like your compass. This is a bit like asking, the purpose that you have your business for. Now, you might say, well, the purpose for my business is to make money. Well, that's actually not its purpose. That's a byproduct of you fulfilling on the purpose of the business. And it could be to deliver amazing quality work for the businesses that, or the mums and dads that you work with. But for what purpose do you want to have a business that you can operate remotely? Have a think about it. If you feel like tapping away into the chat box, please do so. Maybe it's to create time for yourself. Time is a currency. Money is a currency. Time is a currency, depending on what stage of life you're at the moment. Maybe you want to grow financial profit, because if you have a business that you can operate remotely, which doesn't mean that you're there, ideally it's going to be profitable for you to be able to do so. Develop your team. Give your team the opportunities to grow their leadership and development. Build business value. Maybe it's passing on the business to someone that is, groomed up underneath you to take on. And succession means passing the success that you have onto others. Maybe you want to sell it, which makes it super valuable. Flexibility and choice. Where are you sitting with those? What would you love to see as for your purpose? And Carlisle's got here, working remotely overseas for 10 months is freedom. Love it, love it. So here's the game we want to play. I'm going to challenge you to this, okay? Book a 3-month trip away from the business. Now, you can do this metaphorically, or you can actually choose to do it as a game. You're off-grid. You get once a week in-person contact, maybe with a senior team player from your business. You can see financials and scorecard and schedules via the internet. You have 6 months to prepare. Go. When I started working with a business owner earlier this year, he'd spoken with one of our clients who was planning a 3-month trip across Australia. And I said, this is what this business owner's doing. And he goes, oh, I'd love to do that. I said, well, if it's possible for someone else, it's possible for you. It's just a matter of how. Are you up for that? So we connected them, shared the how, then he said, and it was basically mid-February. He said, you know what, I've spoken to my wife, I've spoken to my kids. We're going to book a trip 3 months across Australia to WA, and we're going to leave mid-June, 15th of June, 16th of June, something around that. He says, I've booked it. He says, we've got the game to play. He actually gave himself 3.5 months to prepare, and he made it work. In fact, he's just got back. I'm having a conversation with him tomorrow to chat about where things are at, how things went whilst he was away, and how we can support him next in his journey, because he said, because he zoomed in with one of our groups, and he said, you know what, not everything went to plan whilst I was away. However, we're ready to book the next trip, because I know when I go again next time, then I can learn from what experience I've had this time around. So take ownership is the key. Before we get into the key steps, you own it. If you want to create this business, it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you to create the business of your choosing. Some of you have heard me talk about Jay and Krista a few times. I mean, they are just an incredible couple, inspirational in so many different ways. When we first started working with them, probably going about 7 or 8 years ago now, their goal was to travel 6 months of the year with their 3 young boys. Electrical company in Brisbane, that was their goal. They kept their vision, they kept their purpose, they kept on track. And this year, last year they did 2 months, the year before they did 1 month, this year they've done 3 to 4 months away, traveling across Australia and achieving their goal, but they always kept their vision in sight. And when they started working with us, it was a pipe dream. I said, well, other people have done it. If it's possible for them, it is possible for you. Just a matter of how. All right, I've got a couple of questions here. That Shane's asked a question, what cloud solution is everyone using? We could probably answer that a little bit later on when we talk about tech. There's Shane, great question as well. All right, the steps we want to take. You've got to create a plan. You've got to engage your people. You've got to map your processes out. You've got to prioritise the rollout. Look at how effective and productive your team can be. Practice in advance and prepare for what ifs. All right, so let's get started. Roll up your sleeves. You got to create the plan. What's the outcome you want? Yeah. Why? What's the intention? What's the purpose? Who is on the team that can help you create a business that you can work remotely from? What are the time frames? And then what's the process to be able to do so? So there's some questions there for you to consider. You know, what's the outcome? What's the real purpose behind it? You know, maybe your purpose is that you just want the ability to work from home. You've got, you know, time with a family, not have to be feeling like a slave to the business. Maybe you do want to travel. Maybe you want to have the ability so as you're driving around in the van from site to site, you can access information easily and quickly. Maybe you do want to set up the business so it's going to be able to be sold down the track. Who's on the team that's going to help you? What roles do you need? What timeframes do you want to create? Is it a 2-year plan, a 12-month plan, a 3-month plan? And then we can run through the process with you. So that's first and foremost. Before, you know, they say, you know, an hour of planning can save a day of chaos. In this situation, if you're serious about it, you know, several 1-hour time slots of planning can save months of chaos as well. Secondly, we're going to engage your people. You want to, you know, if you want your team to support you in this, the right people will. If you've got the wrong people on your team who just show up every day for a paycheck, go home, and aren't really interested in the vision of the business, then it's up to you to make some choices around that. And again, working up through the business mountain, through red and orange and through yellow and green, is not a process that you can rush. But creating a team of people who show up every day wanting to succeed, are super engaged, takes time. And there are opportunities there for the right people in the right positions. Ask for suggestions. So what I mean by paint the picture, share the story. This is what I'm wanting to be able to do. I'm going to create a business that we can work from remotely. The last 18 months has given us the opportunity to create a completely different business. The opportunities for all of you are A, B, C. There's leadership opportunities, there's supervision jobs, the ability to learn new technology. You want to be able to, you know, elicit suggestions from people to support you on this, involve them in the process, and then acknowledge and reward the people who are there for the long term as well. One of the things I really see today is that the younger generation, the millennials, the ones that are going to form the future of your business, they're the ones who are excited about creating a business where remote working and tech and scheduling and all of the aspects of that are part of the game. Not wanting to rock up every day, feel like a factory worker to the same place, doing the same thing over and over again. So engage your team. We've got Tony and Julie from TSR Refrigeration in GYMPIE. What they wanted to be able to do was create a business which allowed them the flexibility to go and travel. Now, these guys live not far from the coast, above Brisbane, and what they were after was creating a business that allowed them to go traveling, Tony to go surfing and go fishing, and Julie to spend more time with her friends. And so they engaged their team, and particularly their family, about what their vision was. It's quite an established business, well over 30 years in the regional area there of GYMPIE. And so engaging the team was all part of the process. We helped them do that. And it wasn't just the family members, their 2 sons and daughter, it was the rest of the team. So they've got quite a substantial team, 14 or 15 there. So we helped craft the vision. And then Tony and Julie shared the vision. And, because they'd hired correctly, they got great people involved, it was quite easy to roll out and having them engaged in being able to create a business that gave Tony and Julie options. Thirdly, we now want to map out the processes. Now, a process is a recipe or a system, and it's creating the recipe for how you want it done your way. And that's really important, how you want it done in your way. How are you going to create a step-by-step structure for each and every important task and job in the business? How are you going to measure that success? And then how are you going to measure whether people are actually following the procedures and systems. And we talk about a scorecard, and a scorecard gives you both leading and lagging measures. That's a bit more of a more detailed conversation, but lagging measures give you an indication of what has happened. Leading indicators tell you what is happening right now and gives you predictive processes as well. And just an example, a system is what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and who it needs to be done. Just like a recipe. And I know a few of you have been on sessions with me before, and it doesn't get any more complicated or simple than this. We've all cooked something in the kitchen. We've got the box of HelloFresh that arrived early today. Open it up. Here's the recipe. We've got the ingredients. Let's just follow the recipe, and ideally it'll turn out like the picture on the front of the sheet. Not always, but in your business, what are the recipes that you have? So for example, here's 4 different ways that you can make cement. Most of you would have mixed mortar or cement at some stage in your trade career. Now, one outcome, different recipes. No one's right, no one's wrong. But what's really important, if you want to work remotely and have confidence that things are being delivered in your business the way that you want it to be done, investing time every week in writing these recipes, implementing them, training them is super important. Some of the areas to consider around writing your core processes, guys, are in your lead generation, how to handle the inquiries, how to provide quotes and estimates, how to meet and greet the customer, how you want certain aspects of preparing for the job, delivering the job, handing over the job, invoicing and administration, health and safety in the back end, hiring, communication, training, and then reporting. What sort of reports do you want created for you if you're not there day to day? So this is just a snapshot, and I'm running a workshop Friday for one of our clients, for one of our groups. It's called a Systems Innovation Workshop, Systems Immersion Workshop, where we are sitting down and actually physically writing out these systems and procedures and giving people 10 to 15 that they can take back to their business the same day. So the key here is that this isn't going to happen by default, it happens by design. Brooke's one of our clients. She runs an amazing landscaping business in Brisbane. And one of the things that Brooke has done diligently when we were working with her is write out a recipe for every property. She mainly does property management, maintenance. And for every address, there is a handbook. And so if I was to jump on board with Brooke and I was going to go to 123 Smith Street, I would have the handbook that says, this is how you do the job on this site each and every week. Here's the security code. These are the tools you're going to require. This is the order in which you do things, from pruning to lawn to fertilizing to weeding. This is the note that we leave for the customer in the mailbox at the end of the day. So it's a step-by-step approach to ensure a consistent outcome each and every time. Sometimes you may want to prioritize the rollout. You might look at which areas do I systemize first. Are they the ones that have the biggest risk? Are they the ones where you're most involved? And potentially, if you're wanting to extract yourself operationally, that's where you may start. Or you may want to look at the most valuable part of the business, which is the customer journey. What do they experience? Each and every time, consistency is the key. Here's some examples of clients that have created their own steps, their own methodology, and then they utilize this as the benchmark to train their team on. So the key thing is, when it's documented, it can be followed. When it's followed, it can be improved. And it continues to refine and develop all the time. So Kristine and Dylan from Dawson Electric on the left-hand side in this slide here have their 21 steps to customer experience. So they've just come back from a 2-week trip. Speaking to Kristine today, they've got 4 kids. And so over school holidays, they committed a few months ago to take the 2 weeks off and travel around Queensland. Now, I know if you're in the southern states, you may not want to hear that with what's going on at the moment, but this is just to share with you what's possible when the time arises for yourself as well. So they mapped out, they obviously have this customer experience, and they have done truckloads of training with their team in how to follow that. And if there is a customer who doesn't have a great experience, then they know that one of those steps has not been followed. Yep. So that's the benefit of having your customer experience mapped out, bullet point by bullet point, gives you that flexibility and opportunity to progress and to create a business which they can remotely tap into as well. So I've done a bit of talking. I'd love to hear from you guys because we've got a few more on the call now. In the last sort of 15 minutes, what's one thing that you feel has been valuable for you that you'd love to take home and try out or trial out in your business? One thing that you see is possible, and ideally hearing stories from others would be great to inspire you. Not to, you're not there to compare yourself to anybody else, but hearing the stories of some of our PROTRADE clients and what they're putting into place ideally is giving you inspiration as well. So I'm just going to mute myself for 20 seconds, grab a little drink. Love to hear from you what you found valuable and what are you up for implementing into your business? What are you going to challenge yourself with? I'll be back super soon. Alrighty, good to have a few comments coming through now. So Rowan's got just seeing if this works, question mark. Here's the thing, Robert, it's so great that you shared that, Rowan, because you never know unless you give it a go. And I think one of those catchphrases of going to the Northern Territory a few years ago, you'll never know if you never go. And one of the things that a lot of people have is fear around, trying something new, the fear of change, the fear of doing something differently. One of the client I'm catching up with tomorrow, who's just come back from 3 months traveling around, I said, what is one of the biggest fears that you had? He says that if I went away, everything would fall apart. And there were some challenges that he had whilst he was away. And I said, but the beautiful thing is whilst you were working remotely, you got a different perspective. You weren't in the bushfire when the smoke was there. You could make logical decisions versus the emotional ones that can be there. And when he connected with one of our groups, a few weeks back, he says, the beautiful thing about this is I'm glad I've done it. And I now see how I can do it even better next time. So great, that's the thing there. Kevin's got team development. Yeah, beautiful. What do they say? If you want to, achieve the dream, you got to build the team. Beautiful. Majika's got having a set design for daily tasks. I think structure gives you freedom. Those people out there who've got lots of things going on, we all do. There's always a list of things to work on, yeah? But structure gives you freedom. Creating work by design, not by default. Thanks, Kevin. Lovely thing there. And that's really the key. I'll give you an example. We had one of our clients earlier on this year who had a refrigeration company, had 300 homes lined up for the year to implement split systems or ducted systems. Now, if you're in that residential construction space, you'll understand the delays that have occurred all over the country. And so when he came to June, instead of having 150 done and completed and being paid for, he had 35. So all of a sudden, he needed to create some more work opportunities for the gaps that had appeared in his schedule. Now, because he had the ability to create work by design, not just be the fallback, he was able to go out there and fill the calendar until the work that he'd had in the calendar started to progress as well. I'm prioritizing the rollout. Thank you, Sam. Beautiful, good to see there. And Rowan's got, again, the goal is to work remotely to manage the work-life balance. Beautiful. I think everybody has different reasons, and here's the great thing about working with the trade and construction industry. Totally simple, totally inspiring. Not many people are out there to become billionaires. They just want a great life with their family to enjoy the journey. And that's why we've created this business mountain, is that you definitely get to enjoy the view if you take the stepped approach to climbing the mountain. All right, here we go. Let's keep progressing, guys. Productivity is going to be the key, because if you're not there, if you're running the business remotely, how do you know how effective your team are? Now, there is profit leaks everywhere in the business, and you know that. There's just no line item on the profit and loss every month that says poor productivity in my business cost me $13,263. But you know the inefficiencies are there. And so one of the things that we really work with our clients closely on, particularly if they're getting to the stage now where they're not on site, is how do you track that productivity, okay, and be rigorous with it. You've got to measure what matters. So for example, if you're paying someone for 38 or 40 hours a week, how much of that time is actually allocated to billable work? Are you tracking that as a capacity? If you've allocated, say, 1,000 hours to do a job, labor component, are you tracking where you're at every single week or even half week to what you've budgeted, what you actually are at? Do you have checklists so you guys follow a set procedure? Simple things like, speaking with an electrician last week, he says, I've created this game because I've worked out that a certain job takes a certain amount of time, 80% of the time. And the team player are losing time, the employees are losing time because of the number of the trips they make back to the van for tools or things they didn't think about. And if we can cut down on the number of trips from the job site back to the van and back in half, okay, productivity will go through the roof. Now, it's a minute here, it's a minute there, but a minute becomes 5 minutes. So 5 minutes becomes an hour. And if you could save half an hour a day, if that adds up, that's 2.5 hours a week. You extrapolate that over 10 people on site, that's 25 hours a week. At the hourly rate that you're probably paying people and what it costs a business, let's round figure it to be $100 an hour. That's $2,500 a week. You extrapolate that over 50 weeks, there's $75,000. That is not a line item on the profit and loss. So checklists are great to be able to create this as well. Measuring what matters. When we come to efficiency, guys, as I said, labor efficiency is how many hours you're paying people and how many were billed out. Are you measuring profitability per X? And what I mean by that, you have a project, you have a van, they're profit centers. Target profitability, what did you actually accomplish? How many errors, how many callbacks? And what was that in time, as in a cost, physically, materials? These are the little things that can really, once you can't improve anything, guys, that you're not measuring. On time, on budget, completion, overtime. These are the things that will start costing your business money. And if you're not on site, if you're not in the business, you're working remotely, what sort of measures are you going to put in place and how are you going to access that information? These are the productivity leaks that we see often in businesses. Poor scheduling, poor leadership, poor accountability. There's gaps in communication between the team in the office and the team out on site, or between trades in general. Unclear documentation, unsafe sites leading to injury, poor delivery management of materials. How many of your team make reactive trips to the suppliers during the day? What's that costing you? Because it's not just a walk in, get the part, jump in the van and walk back. You know that they jump in and drop into the shop and get some smoke on the way. They have a bit of banter with the supplier, maybe meet someone else on, at the suppliers that they have a chat to. So a half-hour trip is not a half-hour trip. Excessive overtime, these things all add up to productivity leaks. So once you've got that in place, you've educated and you've got the team supporting you, it's about then saying, how do we practice this? So what I'm going to encourage you to do is have some practice time. Start with a day a week off the grid. So one of the refrigeration clients I'm working with, his goal was to be able to get to 2 days a week, not required by the team. So I said, let's do half a day. Half a day, no email, no phone. He's now doing easily 1 day a week. No email, no phone, Friday with the young family. Okay, so he's got 3 young kids, spending that with the kids as they, drops one off to school, one off to kindy, one at home, loving it. So start with a day a week off the grid. Then take a long weekend, Monday and a Friday. Take a week. And then each time you do so, review and respond what worked, what didn't work, and what are you going to do differently next time. It's not like, I want to take 3 months off. I'm just going to go from 0 to 3. what we're looking at here is just practice in advance. So Shane's one of our Dulux accredited clients that we work with in Brisbane. He loves his surfing. He's got a 7-year-old boy. He was stuck, didn't know what he needed to do to progress to the stage where, when he even had a team of 10 or 12 people, he was still out on site each and every day. So again, we went back, we practiced. We said, let's start with Fridays. Okay, let's get you down. You know, he loves going to the coast for a surf. Let's schedule that in on Fridays, weather dependent. He had his son every second weekend, so we scheduled that in. So it wasn't, you know, a last minute thing to manage something. He planned in advance, planned long weekends away. Now he's got to the stage where a week away from the business, being able to use technology to check in and support the team is totally possible. And he's really creating a business by design, not by default. And the last thing here is about preparing for what ifs. You want to document all of the what if or worst case scenarios, and then have a possible solution for each and every one. If you're not around and you can't be accessed, who's in charge? Okay, and understand there needs to be not necessarily a chain of command, but who is ultimately the person that needs to make a decision if you're not there. You want to set your team up to win. What I mean by that is you don't want to have, you know, create a team where, you know, you come back and everything's fallen apart and then you start pointing the finger. If you take ultimate ownership of everything that happens in your business, you can change anything in your business. And remember, ultimately, where's the ultimate responsibility lie? Yep, that's right, with yourself. So Andrew, one of our beautiful clients in Melbourne, has a BHAG and a big, hairy, audacious goal, that is, so that he wants to expand his business quite significantly. He's got a great business now. He wants to make it even more amazing. He pretty much runs most of the business from home. He's obviously had to recently because of the situation. He hasn't had a choice, but what that's done is helped him create structures where he can be from home. His team are safe, they're effective, they're doing what they need to do. Being an emergency response business, they've been able to trade through the challenges that they've had in Melbourne, but he can access everything about his business anywhere, anytime, which is beautiful, because if you want to expand geographically, the business needs to be in that space. All right, last little bit. What's some of the tech tools that you can utilize to support you to run the business remotely? So one of the things that we've been working closely with our clients over the last 18 months on is educating them on the tools that they can be utilizing to digitize their business. How do you become a digital business, not a pen and paper business? So some of the things that you may want to explore, a couple of little tools. One's called Prioritise, which allows you to create beautiful proposals from wherever you are. And think about this, if you're in the bush, you're on the beach, you're spending a little bit of time every morning maybe checking in on the business, responding to inquiries, putting proposals forward. How do you create templates that are beautiful and allows you to then, you know, connect back with clients to help them make decisions? Calendly is a great little tool that we're recommending, and we use it ourselves, that allows you to set up meetings with your clients rather than playing phone tag or email tag. When are you ready? Can you make this time? No, it doesn't work. Shoot people a link and say, hey, these are my availabilities for a connection. You know, I've allocated, 8 a.m. till 10 a.m., 3 days a week. Make your times available, and it allows people to book times with you easily and effectively. Cuts out hours of wasted time there. Team communications. You know, if you're not embracing how to use digital tools to communicate over distance right now, you are behind the times. You know, it may be inconvenient to start off with, but once you get used to, whether it's Zoom, whether it's FaceTime, whether it's Microsoft Teams, whether it's Jitsi meetings, whether it's Google Hang, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, guys. It's the concept that matters. What job management software are you embracing at the moment? And there's a number of videos that we're putting out on our YouTube channel about how to choose the right job management software for your business. But you get to choose that, yeah? But your access to job management software can give you access to your schedule, where the jobs are at, the profitability, your client database, you name it, you can get that via a quality job management software. Team communication, you know, again, you can have a site meeting with you being in one end of the country and the team being on site. Okay, you can get to inspect and to share and to acknowledge and support, you know, whatever platform you're utilizing, embrace it right now. Getting paid, again, you know, not able to connect and talk to people who are behind in payment, you can set some automated reminders. You know, Debtor Daddy is one that you may want to check in on. Your links to your Xero, it sends emails prior to invoices being due, the day they're due, and you can then set up automated reminders the day after, the next day, you know, however you want to structure it. But one of the things that I know most trade business owners don't get excited about is waking up and going and chasing payments that are overdue. Let's look at ways that you can automate this as well. And hiring, you know, how do you remotely hire people? How do you check in and hire if you're not around? Again, you can create application forms that people can fill in on Typeform. They can set up interviews with you, and you can do them via Zoom. So all of this technology that I'm inviting you to explore allows you to create a business that, you know, pretty much you can operate from wherever you are, regardless of the type of business that you have. You've just got to ask the question, that's challenging, never thought of that. How do I make that possible for me? And one last thing before we sort of wrap up is that all of this is going to be really challenging to start off with. It's going to be messy in the middle, but if you can embrace the hard part, because it's going to challenge the way and the beliefs and the way you've been seeing your business, it's going to be messy in the middle as you're working it all out, but it will be beautiful at the very end. I promise you of that. Too many stories and too many experiences with our clients have proven that this, if you're prepared to go through the 1 and the 2, the 3 will be there for you at the end. Of what we've talked about tonight, before we, you know, share one last little thing, there's lots of ideas. Pick one. Yep, it's not about taking truckloads, it's about listing them all, picking one and working on your next best step forward. Because if your day looks like this, you know, for a lot of people at the moment, it can be, I'm waking up, which way do I go? Am I heading in the right direction? Maybe if I just get through the day, I'll be okay. And once the fog clears, hopefully I'm on the right path. You get to choose, remember, default or by design. And for us, we've given and have provided and have launched a handbook to the Business Mountain. This is creating a business by design, step by step, with over 20 years of experience, myself personally, in coaching and guiding business owners. We've created a step-by-step approach to ensure that you create a business by design where you enjoy the view, you enjoy the journey, you know, minimizes the stress and the pressure. You're not doing it reactively and you're not doing it by default. If you'd like to work out where you're at on your journey in the adventure of business, if you'd like to work out where you're at, where you'd like to progress to, one of the things that we would like to offer all of you on this session is a personalized business performance session. And what that looks like, guys, is the opportunity to sit down with one of our team and have a look at where you're at on the mountain. You know, what are the next best steps that you can take? Look at where you'd like to be on the journey and then support you in implementing that. And if we can't, definitely point you in the right direction. So if you're up for a conversation with one of the team, over the phone, via Zoom, face-to-face, if we can make it possible, we've got team players in Melbourne and team players in Brisbane, just tick yes. Yeah, just say yes and one of the guys will be in touch. If you're not quite sure, just click unsure and one of the team will be in touch just to give you a little bit more information about it. The worst case scenario is you get clarity on where you are, you get clarity on where you're going to go. You get clarity on some of the obstacles and potential challenges and setbacks you may have to deal with. But most importantly, at least you'll work out what is the next 1, 2, 3 best steps for you to take on the journey up the mountain. So just tick yes if you're up for that. No, if it's a no, that's totally cool as well. And if you're unsure, then we'll be in touch to give you a little bit more information as well. All right, just a couple more steps to go. And then there's 1 or 2 questions that did come up. And as they're here as well, you know, Rowan's got some great conversations here. always wanting to improve, and you know, the goal, as I said, promoting working with the work-life balance. I'm just going to close that poll there as we speak. So one of the questions that did come up before, and where is that, is it was something about what's the best software that you recommend here. What cloud solution is everyone using? If anybody's, you know, quite happy to share what cloud solution they're using to host documents, feel free to type that into the chat box right now. We use Dropbox as our cloud solution. We also use Google Suite to share documents between the team as well. So depending on really what is there for you, if anybody's got ones that they're working with well, Dropbox has got, Majika's got there. Thank you for sharing that as well. Sam's got, have you got a recommendation for job management software for small businesses? Listen, the one that we have started partnering with is a company called Prioritise. Yeah, so Prioritise, and I'll just type it in the chat box there. Prioritise is more suitable for small businesses, and where Simpro is more designed for more established businesses. So Prioritise is a great little solution there as well. We've got some other here's. Arrowflow is one that someone has recommended here as well, and to be, you know, fluent in a lot of different software solutions. Prioritise works really well, says Kevin. Thank you, mate. OneDrive, Wayne has got. WeTransfer, says Adam. Thanks, matey, for that as well. And Sam's got, yep, have heard of Prioritise. Thank you so much for that as well. Here, the beautiful thing about software here is, guys, and we did a session with the Dulux members a couple of weeks back about how to digitize your business, is that there are so many options here, which is exciting, but there can be a lot of confusion around that as well. So it's about having a right process. So if you want to check some of our YouTube channel videos out, we've got some steps on how to choose the right job management service, job management software there as well. Wayne's got ServiceMate there, and Shane's got What About ServiceMate, yep, there. All great options as well. So guys, thanks for your input right at the very end. Geez, that seems like a hot topic, doesn't it? All of the software solutions. And thanks for your input today. Thanks for being part of this session. And, you know, as I said early on, you get to create the business of your choosing. What works for you, not one that's by design, and sit down, think about it. How would you like your business to look and feel and operate 12 months, 2 years, 5 years from now? Go to work. If we can be of support, please be in touch. Go out there, make a difference to your team at the moment. I tell you what, they need your support. Your community needs your support, and continue to be a master of your craft and a professional of your trade. Thanks for being part of the session today. I look forward to meeting some of you in person at some stage down the track. And as I said, if we can be of support at any stage, please be in touch. Have a great night.